button here. And all right, we are live, I believe.
It's always that confusion with the streaming service, so that'll work. Awesome.
So everybody, welcome to another episode here of Whiskey Thursday. Myself, Matt Kramer, and special guest tonight, Jason Morse. Matt, I'll let you take over here because I think you know a little bit more about Jason, and let's give him a proper introduction inside.
Yeah, Jason is a big group owner. Jason, you've got a group of what, 22,000 agents now?
Actually, it's like 31,000 now.
31,000? Oh my gosh.
Crazy, man. It's
you're also an agent, a property manager, and you have like a private agent course as well. Is that right?
Yeah, I do group coaching with real estate agents. This year is the first year I'm not working with the general public anymore. I'm actually focusing on supporting my group coaching. I got another crazy project going on that's growing like crazy, and then I'm working on my personal real estate business and holdings basically. And so it's a fun time, man.
Sound like a busy guy, Jason. You've got. I was reading. You and I don't know each other, so this is the first time that we get to chat. But you've also you've written 7 books. Some Amazon bestsellers, which is pretty awesome. I read that you also had the property management company, 350 property managers, I think, or something similar, something along those lines in about 24 months.
Back in 2007, our market just went into free fall. I mean, you know, when the market busted. So I was on the phone making calls and listing property, but the problem was the market was going down so fast. You could list a property on Monday, and next Monday you got to call them back and say, "Hey, man, I'm sorry, the bank just listed $20,000 cheaper or $50,000 cheaper." You know, it's hard to keep up with the market. It was going down so fast.
Right.
So, I said, "Hey, you know, there's an opportunity here. These people, if they can't sell their house, they got to do something with it, right?" So I just started a property management company, started leasing properties. Then I went on and built a team that was kind of focused around that, and websites, a lot of internet lead generation. And but I stayed on the phone prospecting. That was if you have to pick one thing, the one activity that if you do that activity right, all the rest of the pieces falling together. That one activity for me was actually going out and prospecting. It's actually still getting on the phone, lead generating. Right. Even though I had, other sources of leads, that was the core.
Right.
I love it. And we were just talking about this just briefly about agents who end up getting Facebook ads or Facebook leads, right? And they get these leads and they're coming in and they start seeing them and they get all excited and nothing. They don't want to pick up the phone.
Yeah, dude. I think it's a big problem, man. You guys probably know, like, funnels are the big thing. That's like the big buzzword in every industry. Click funnels. You got to, what is it? Your next funnel or whatever their thing is.
One funnel away. Yeah.
One funnel away. Yeah. So we
That's all like us. We're one funnel away, aren't we? It's like one funnel away to doing something.
And two, that's a little bit more exciting. It's a little bit creative. It's a little bit of, I think as being entrepreneurs and salespeople, we all have that little bit of creative energy that we want to release. And sometimes the stuff we do, it's easy to get complacent. It's easy to get bored, and a lot of agents, the problem is when they're prospecting on the phone, a lot of times they get bored before they really start having a lot of success. So then they start looking for something else. I think that's why we keep looking for like the next silver bullet and the next thing. You know what I mean? Like, I see real estate agents doing it all the time, man. They'll jump in my coaching. They'll think there's a magic bullet. And be honest with you, I'll tell you guys the secret now. There is no magic bullet, right? The magic that happens in a script is when you've been using the same script over and over for, and you've talked to 100 sellers, 1,000 sellers, right? And you've asked those same 6 to 8 questions over and over again. And all of a sudden, you know all the answers to them. All the answers, all the objections, basically, what they're going to say before they even say it. It's almost like you develop psychic abilities. And so that's where the magic actually comes in. And a lot of agents, what they'll do is if they are telephone prospecting, they'll get on the phone, they make calls for 2 weeks. They're just making some progress. They go in a Facebook group and all of a sudden somebody says, "Oh, I list 3 appointments this week." And they go, "What script were you using?" And so they change scripts and then they change scripts. And every time they use a new script, there's a new learning curve. right? There's a
Right.
new learning curve, new questions, new answers. And you know, but the Facebook thing, like you said, yeah, a lot of agents just don't have the money. They don't have the money to test ads, and by the time they find an ad that actually works and converts, they're out of money.
Yeah. Yeah. And that, like you said, like they get that script and all of a sudden then a new one comes out and it's like, oh, what is this one? I got to learn this one. This person just did all this. Like you were saying, the psychic ability, when you're doing the same thing over and over, you start to hear an objection. You almost get excited because you're like, I got this one. I know this one.
What if we took, I mean, this is just hypothetically speaking, this is a question I ask in my group coaching all the time. What if you took the top 3 objections you get, which are probably, I don't want to work with a real estate agent. I'll pay you 3% if you bring me a buyer. Oh, I don't want to pay a commission. You know, those have to be at least 3 of the top 5, you know? And to tell you the truth, man, 16 years ago when I started selling real estate to begin with, sellers were still using those objections.
Yeah, they haven't changed.
Yeah, there are no new objections. There's no training classes for sellers going how to create 100 objections for your real estate agents, you know, for real estate agents calling in your FISBO. There isn't a class or anything like that. So the same objections they were given last year, they're given today. So what if you took those just the top 3 and you started role playing and practicing those, wrote them down, thought about how to overcome them, role played and practiced how to overcome them, you know, 3 times a week for 15 minutes. You know, how good would you get at overcoming those top 3? And what would that alone do to your business?
Yeah.
How would that change?
It'd blow it up. You'd be so on point for those 3 objections. I mean, you'd be praying they'd say one of those.
Oh yeah, you're hoping they say one of them. You know, when I was at the height of my calling and stuff, my favorite objection was bring a buyer and I'll pay you 3%. Bring a buyer and I'll pay a commission. You know, that was my favorite one because I knew they saw the value in working with a real estate agent. And I felt like my whole mindset was like, okay, now we're just negotiating. What am I going to get paid? Yeah, they're willing to pay me 3%. You know, whatever your normal commission is, we're just negotiating paycheck. You know,
Right.
That's it. They're willing to pay. It's just not quite what I want yet.
Yeah. And you have a book that you put together that you were going to offer tonight as a special offer for everybody who's here. Is that right?
Yeah, you know what? I got a book. If you guys go to Amazon, I done it right before we started, so it might take just a little while to update. But 53 strategies to get more listings. It's actually the Kindle version. I set it up so it'd be free for this call.
Love it.
It's free all night today, all night tomorrow. So if you end up listening to the replay, go on there. It's free on Kindle. Download it. I'll tell you guys that are in these really hot markets, you know, sometimes you got to get creative with what you're doing. Sometimes we don't have any for sale by owners. We don't have any expireds to call. So we have to get really creative, Matt and Shane. You know, we got to start looking at one of my favorite was eviction filings. You know, calling the people, the property owners that are doing the evictions. I like for rent by owners. For rent by owners is a long-term game that every real estate agent should be playing.
Well, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, for rent by owners, you know, I got this idea that most people didn't start out wanting to become a landlord. Somehow or another, they got cast into becoming a landlord. You know, their house was overpriced and they couldn't sell it. They couldn't afford for it to sit empty. They inherited a house or whatever it is, and you know, basically they got stuck with one. And most of them aren't professional landlords that are going out there saying, "Hey, I want to own 100 rental properties." So when you have one and you have one tenant problem, 100% of your rental portfolio has a problem. When you have one tenant paying, and you know, a lot of these people, you know, hey man, if the tenant isn't paying, they have a problem paying their mortgage. So a couple things we know. There's a couple things we know right now. If somebody rents their house today on Craigslist, they more than likely signed a 12-month lease. So we know in 12 months that there's a good chance that house is going to go empty again. But we also know that between now and that 12 months, there's also a good chance they may have a tenant problem. You know, sometimes the problem is just a, you know, kind of a bullshit problem, right? Just, hey, they don't like the tenant because the tenant drives an old car, right?
Right. Or a loud car or something like that.
It's a really interesting strategy too. And, you know, I can relate to that as a landlord and somebody that owns property. I know that every time I get a tenant that sends me an email and basically when they're giving their notice, it's in the back of my mind. Like, should I sell now? This is the opportunity for me to sell. I don't have to deal with this anymore. You know, now I've got to go out, find another tenant. I got to deal with that, you know, bullshit that I got to deal with trying to find somebody. I'm in a completely different city on top of it. So
probably destroyed the carpet. You know, you
yeah,
probably got to paint, you know.
exactly. And so there's a bit like, although like, you know, the properties we have, like they're you know, single family homes are really nice. So we don't have a hard time finding tenants, but it's still in the back of my mind. Like, this might be a good time for me to sell, you know, and if somebody was there at that time, yeah.
Think about the ones that have a tenant problem, like they're going through the eviction. I mean,
Yeah.
I've had evictions where, man, I didn't care if the house burned. I just want to be away from it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is horrible. Dude, I had a landlord that owner I worked for, this was probably 10 years ago. He didn't like the tenants. He had a golf course condo, and he didn't like the tenants because the tenants would smoke on the back porch. And I mean, other than that, they were good paying tenants. They were actually paying like top of the market rent. They just smoked on the back porch, and they had an ashtray out there, and they would put out their cigarette butts. And I was like, dude, at least they're not smoking in your house, you know?
Right.
And he would actually drive here from New Jersey, go look around the place and flip out about the whole thing. And he thought he had the worst tenants in the world. And it's like, dude, yeah, it's seen worse, you know?
Right.
Man,
you've had some stories, if I remember right.
Oh, dude, I could write 2 more books on tenant stories. I had a guy one time, we were evicting, and he it was shag carpet in the house, and he threw rice in shag carpet, right? And I don't know if you guys know this, but vacuuming up rice out of shag carpet just doesn't happen. It basically fills up the vacuum cleaner before you can actually vacuum it up. So it's like a big deal. And then if you clean the carpet with the rice in there and you don't get it all up, it actually cooks the rice in the carpet that it's in, right? I mean, it really, throwing rice in shag carpet like screws you up. It's like
something I'm
like
gonna remember.
drawing on the sheetrock with crayons. You almost have to re-sheetrock the place to get painted.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so you think about it. If you're following up with that landlord every 30 days and you're going, hey, Matt, Jason Morris, I'm calling. Hey, I wanted to give you a call, man. One just came on the market down the street from yours, you know. One just went off the market. One just went pending. One just sold, you know, whatever it is. But calling them with something of value, and you're doing that every 30, 45 days, by the time that lease is up, well, hopefully if they have a tenant problem, your timing is just right. You know what I mean? But by the time their lease ends, hey, they've already built a relationship with you. They already know you. They've seen your pre-listing package. They've talked to you several times. They kind of got a good idea of who Matt Kramer is.
Yeah. And when you're calling, you know, as many people as you should be, when you're calling, you know, 20, 30 people a day and you're consistently doing that long enough, it's funny how often you run into somebody and it's the perfect timing. It's like, well, it's not because it was magic. It's because you're persistent and you stuck with it.
Yep, that's right. You just stuck with it. And imagine, like, I mean, this isn't a hard thing in any type of medium-sized market to add like 2 4-ITMA owners to your database a day, right? Call through.
Oh, yeah.
If they rented it, hey, it's not a big deal if they're rented because, you know, most of them are going to be rented anyway. It's follow-up game. If you added 2 a day for 356 days or 300, to say 250 days, man, at the end of the year, next year, you got 500 people. And, you know, you think about that, you go, man, you know that the month of June, you've got 40 owners with leases expiring in your database that you've been talking to. You've had 8, 10, 12 touches with them. You've had 8, 10, 12 conversations with them, you know? I mean, that's, dude, you got to get 1 or 2, right?
Oh yeah. I would think.
Yeah, for sure.
If it's
yeah, and if it's a long game as well, right? I mean, if you're doing this consistently over the years, I mean, you're essentially the person they're going to reach out to whenever they're ready to, you know, make the move and list their houses, right? So yeah, a cool strategy.
You could build a massive business just around that.
Yeah.
I mean,
don't give Matt any ideas. Matt's
right.
I'm
just thinking, like, man, you could do the calls and then you throw in some video retargeting in there with Facebook and whatnot. So you're staying in front of them. I got a whole thing going up already.
Yeah, let's not go there. But hey, Jason, I want to talk. So you do a lot of coaching with agents, and is that like your primary business right now?
Yeah, I primarily coach real estate agents. Yep.
Okay. So I want to dig into that because there's a few questions I have for you just based on your experience working with agents. Before we go there though, guys, if you're watching live, just hashtag live so we know that you are here. Let us know where you're watching from. You guys know the drill. Again, we're here with Jason Morris, and also let's get some engagement going inside this live here. Jason's offered up one of his books available for the next 24 hours or so. Sorry, Jason, what's the name of that book again? Available on Amazon?
Strategies to get more listings. And yeah, it's available. It's actually available on Amazon.
Awesome, good stuff. Scott's here. I don't know why he hashtag replay here, but you're here live, Scott. Matt's here. Justin's here. Good to see you guys. Chris says, all my favorite marketers in one place. Must be Thursday. Sure is. Good to see you, Chris. And Jude is here, or he was here early on in the call. So Jason, I want to talk to you a little bit more about, because so the audience here is, and we mentioned this before the call, we've got marketers here. We've got a lot of agents. So interestingly enough, you own you own a fairly large group, 30,000 plus agents. So one thing you said was that the marketers are in there constantly spamming the group.
Yeah, guys, I'll tell you what, I'm a Facebook master. I don't train a lot about it. I don't coach a lot about Facebook, but I mean, I've called several trends. Some of them I got lucky, some of them I haven't, but I mean, you want me to offer advice to them?
Absolutely. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Is one of the big challenges for marketers is reaching agents, and probably one of the reasons why they're spamming these big giant groups.
You know what, man? This is what I would recommend you guys do. We're doing this with another company that we never mentioned the name of on Facebook, and it's growing extremely, extremely fast. But there's basically a 3-step process. This is what I would do if I was a marketer right now. I'd create me like a 5-minute video that told about my service in a very compelling way, right? Even if I had to go on Fiverr and get it done, then I would go through and I wouldn't spam. I wouldn't spam people's direct messages because number one, everybody can tell what it is with spam. I mean, everybody knows when they got a spam message, right? But I would start messaging real estate agents and it would be real simple. It'd be like, hey, Matt, how's business? Hey, man, I saw your question. That's really interesting. How's business, right? And I would create a conversation with them. I'd create a conversation, build a relationship, build almost a script. And that way, they basically at some point they ask you what you do. You want to set up the agent to ask you what to do.
Yeah, it's the same way you'd handle it if you go to like a BNI, right?
The greatest thing is if you guys done, and I guarantee you this will happen, if you start sending messages to real estate agents, really connecting to them, not spam, right? Real one-on-one things. You're not going to be able to set up a bot to do this. You got to do it yourself. Get you a notebook, keep you a list of the agents you're talking to. You don't need a fancy CRM. And just, hey, every now and then just touch base with Shane. But the initial conversation is, hey, Shane, how's business going? Or, hey, man, I saw that post you made. That's an interesting point you have, or whatever, something to connect with them. So then they message you back, and inevitably you say, hey, man, how's your real estate business going? And typically most real estate agents, even if things are really bad, they go, oh, I'm really busy. But inevitably they will ask you how your business is going. And that's when you get the opportunity to say, well, I generate leads for a lot of agents, or, yeah, well, I do this thing with lead generation. It's really cool. And we've been really busy. We're getting a lot of results for it. And their next question will be, really, Matt, what is it that you guys are doing? Well, I got a quick 5-minute video. It kind of gives you a little bit of overview. Would you like me to send it to you? And then you send them the video when they ask, right? Create your script so that you're putting them in a situation where they're asking you what you're doing, right?
I love it.
Create a conversation, raise a little bit of curiosity, send them your webinar, send them your script, make sure you have something of value in there, right? And then you just follow up. You just follow up with them. And I'm not saying you got to follow up with them every day. I mean, you might have, just it kind of depends on what you'll get a ratio at some point. You'll get a closing ratio. I don't know what it is. I don't sell real estate marketing stuff, but I know that you'll get a ratio because any sales will do that. And guys, it might take you 30 days, might take you 45 days to build that sphere, 60 days to start really seeing results. but I guarantee you it's going to pay off a lot more than just going and spamming the comments.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, and this is a similar strategy that we teach, that we do, that it's something that I've been doing for the past 3 years, where it's just connecting with agents, messaging them when I can, and nothing spammy. It's basically, hey, thanks for connecting. Usually I try to relate to something that I've seen on their personal profile or something on their Facebook business page. Hey, I saw this great post, nice job, and that's it. And I leave it at that, right? And then I go find a couple posts and comment on a couple of their posts and just kind of try to engage with them a little bit more. And my hope is that eventually they'll go back to my profile, and they'll be able to see my profile and results that I posted and testimonials and things like that. But also that they'll respond to that and I can actually start a conversation with them, right? And then over time, you build out this massive database of real estate agents on Facebook, and you continue to post more content, more value, more results, more testimonials. And eventually when they're ready to either, do more marketing, or they want to try Facebook ads or whatever, they're reaching out to you, as opposed to you, like you said, spamming the comments.
Yeah. Man, my dog wants to be in the video too.
Yeah, no problem. What's up,
yeah. He's been all over me the whole time we've been doing this. It's like, man, give me a break, buddy. He's a golden doodle. He's like 85 pounds, man. He's big enough to do what he wants.
That's awesome.
But he's a fun, smart dog. But yeah.
So we have the marketers in our group. We also have a lot of agents that are, either just starting out, or they're starting out with the marketing. They've, done well with other lead sources or whatever else they're doing. They're in here trying to figure out marketing strategies and how to use Facebook ads and things like that. Any, since you're doing coaching for agents, any tips or any, anything that you can give an agent, some ideas of where they should be starting, with their marketing and trying to get out there to their audiences?
Where would I start? Basically, where would I start if I was a new agent? Well, number one, I think sphere of influence isn't very predictable, right? Sphere of influence isn't very predictable. It's not going to be, you can't really plan on your cousin running into somebody and passing your phone number out, I would start learning scripts. I'd learn how to get really good on the phone as quick as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I'd start calling for sale owners. I'd start calling expireds. I mean, that would be like day one. If I was going to start all over, giving myself advice, like, hey man, get on the phones as early as possible. I wasted a lot of time and a lot of money starting as a new agent, thinking, hey, I had to do mail and, to come up with a system. I've had this belief that we don't really sell houses. We sell a service that sells houses, right? And we need to make sure that service is financially sustainable, right? I see a lot of agents doing this too. They have a listing system, and man, there was one girl that was at one of our masterminds. This was a while back, and she had a system that, man, it costed her $1,100 every time she took a listing. She paid for staging. She paid for professional photography, drone footage, all this stuff. Somebody to put her sign out. So whether the listing sold or not, she was out of pocket $1,100. And you think about that. When I first started, man, the talking house was big. I don't know if you guys remember that. The talking house was basically a house on a stick. And if you pulled your car just close enough, you could turn it to an AM station, and they would give you, this was like 16 years ago, they would give you a description of the house. Now, this was cutting edge in 2003, right? This was the thing that was going to change the industry, And man, I would go on listing appointments, and I would sell my clients on the talking house. The talking house was stupid, honestly, but guess what they expected me to do? They expected me to have one outside of their house. And guys, I've yet to see anybody say, hey, I like 123 Main Street. I really like that house, but there's no pictures of the roof. And I mean, 75% of the drone footage pictures we see are pictures of the roof,
Yep.
I've yet to see anybody do that. I think that a lot of agents would go, oh, but our clients expect us to do this. It's like, dude, our clients don't even know what that is unless you tell them, right? Our clients don't know about most of this stuff. We're the ones that tell them about this stuff, We make a big deal out of it, and then they go, oh man, Matt sucks. He didn't do drone footage at my house,
Right.
And I mean, but build a system that's financially sustainable. The basic list of services we do as agents is unbelievably long, you know, it's unbelievably long and it's unbelievably detailed. The basic list of services, just MLS syndication, is unbelievable. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And really, once you get past MLS syndication, other than Facebook ads or social media marketing, I mean, where else can you really get exposed? I mean, you know, maybe you run Craigslist, maybe you run Facebook ads, you know, but other than that, you know, MLS does most of the heavy work for us.
As long as you got it priced right, there's not a lot left to do once you get it on the MLS.
Right. Good description, halfway decent pictures. You don't even need perfect pictures, man. I had an agent telling me that the reason they didn't take listings was because they didn't have the money to hire a professional photographer. And I said, why don't you take the money from like what 2 of those would cost and buy a decent camera with a wide angle lens, you know? Look up a couple of photography tutorials on YouTube. Start taking your own pictures, man. I mean, I'll tell you this, I always took my own pictures of the median priced houses in my area. And the reason I'd done it was because, man, number one, I wanted their house on the market today. If I listed it today, I wanted it on MLS today, right? I didn't want to have to wait 4 days for a professional photographer or 3 days for this and then the editing and stuff and a week to put it on the market. Dude, I wanted it on the market today, right? And my clients want it on the market today, right? I'm impatient. If I was listing my house with you, I'd want you to sit in my living room and upload it to MLS. That's what it took to get it on there faster, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of agents miss that. I think they miss the basics, and they miss the general fundamentals. And honestly, man, fundamentals. If we look at any sport, the fundamentals are what's going to win the game.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. My wife took all my house photos for the first 6 months or something, like until I actually started getting some progress. And I was like, okay, you know, I've got 4 appointments. Like, let's just, you know, hire somebody for $65 a pop to go out there and do it. But like in the beginning, she was doing all my listing photos.
Yep.
All the pictures I see look like they've been taken from a phone. So I don't know what you guys are talking about. To me, it looks like all the agents are taking shitty pictures as it is.
Professional ones, we still look they've been taken from a phone. They're either taken by a phone or they're so photoshopped it doesn't even look like the same house. You know, it's like you have almost it's unrecognizable.
Yeah, I've taken photos of a couple of houses because they were rough houses, and I was like, man, if I hire a photographer to come in here and make it look nice, everybody's gonna be pissed off when they get here. So
yeah, dude, it's like staging. Some of these agents, they go, oh, we got to stage the house for our clients. It's like, dude, you can stage the house all you want, but if your clients live like pigs, in a week it's going to look like pigs live there, you know, still live there, right?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the staging thing was a listing technique that I'd offer to send a stager for a 1-hour consult. Like if I felt like I was in risk of losing the listing, you know, I'd cover a 1-hour consult, but like it never really did that much.
We're going to move your couch over, you know, move your couch over a little bit, get rid of the footstool, you know?
Right.
But yeah, it's kind of crazy, man. Back when the market was slow, people wanted you to stage their houses and stuff, or they, you know, some of them were sold on that. And dude, we don't really have any staging companies here though. 2019, not in my area.
Yeah, I mean,
there they are.
It was something that I used, and it was really good to use only because nobody else used a stager. And so I'm like, you're gonna get a 1-hour consult. They'll tell you where to do. And honestly, the nicest thing about it was,
like, I've got to say, like, agents and NAR, nobody's helping this situation because, talk about staging. As far as I'm concerned, staging is good because I'm going to get more money for my house, right? As an owner, and I'm just basing that on what agents tell me and what I've been reading on the internet, and you know the stats from NAR. So, I mean, it's no wonder the owners want their houses staged, and no wonder agents think they need to do it in order to get more money for the houses.
Yep, dude, NAR is not our friend.
No.
I mean,
well, I get that. But it's,
they take our money, but they're not our friend.
but as a homeowner, like, I mean, you would assume that, you know, they're on your side, right?
I don't know. It seems like they should be, but I don't know what they do. You
Yeah.
know, I used to look at RPAC and I kind of got some heat for making some comments about this. I used to look at RPAC and I said, you know, it's funny that RPAC never picks the candidate I would vote for. It never picks the candidate that would be best for the real estate industry. And in North Carolina, I don't know if you guys know this, they put, gosh, I can't remember the exact number, but it was well over $1.5 million behind a woman's campaign. She didn't even live in the district.
Wow.
She wasn't really even eligible to hold the office. And so, I mean, it was like, dude, she come in like number 5. And yeah, man, I mean, it's actually embarrassing for us. You
Yeah.
know? But
Yeah, it
anyway.
is when that's the organization you belong to and things they do.
Yeah, that's probably a different Facebook Live in a different group.
Yeah, right. Right. That's
Yeah.
like the after show when everybody's drinking a little more and there's no
Yeah.
recording.
That's a little bit more risky.
So
Yeah, I mean, the
sorry,
best thing I would say, the best thing I ever had from a stager, and like this was my favorite thing in the world, man, is she was so good at talking to people when their house looked awful and they needed to take care of a bunch of stuff. Like they needed to get rid of all their weird figurines or get their pictures, like stupid stuff that like, I don't know. I mean, like that stuff I was okay telling people a lot of times, but there was stuff where like their base or their house just smelled like weird, not like musty, but like weird. And she was so good at like communicating that to them and getting them to take care of it.
like
That it was
your
like,
house, Matt.
you are worth $65 for me. Kind of like my house.
I wasn't going to say anything when I was over, but yeah.
Oh, right.
I think that's because I showed up and your wife had been gone for 2 weeks.
Is that? Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
That's
your wife
right.
had like, it's like, oh my God, I got to clean. Shane's here.
I forgot about that. Oh man.
But hey,
Wow.
Jason, I know you're short on time tonight. But just really quickly, as you know, because you're doing all the coaching with the agents and stuff like that, what are you seeing as some of the biggest challenges for real estate agents getting into this?
Oh man, probably
Not only getting into the real estate business, but also, you know, trying to grow their business, or, you know, they're at a certain point and they're trying to get to the next point. What are some of the biggest challenges you see
You
them
know,
running?
the biggest challenge overall is consistency. I mean, it's really consistency. It's like just we get so hung up on all this crazy stuff we think we got to do. You know what I mean? But if we were just consistent, dude, if we were consistent with one thing, right? I mean, that one thing, I talk about prospecting a lot because honestly, you pick up the phone, you can go down through Craigslist, you can get a lot of free lead. There's a lot of free leads out there. So I talk a lot about prospecting. I think prospecting is a good foundation for any business, but if you prospected consistently, you would make money. If you run Facebook ads and followed up consistently, you would make money. If you done open houses consistently and yet, you know, you door knock the community, you done the open house, you followed up with the community afterwards, dude, you make money, right? And a lot of agents, they'll go do one open house, they never follow up and they don't do anymore. Or they call, you know, they well, I don't like to call it cold calling because it's really not cold calling. You're calling people that you know want to sell, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they'll do it for a week, they do it for 2 hours, and they go, "Oh man, this doesn't work." You know,
Yeah.
a lot of them do it 5 hours in one day. You know, where they'd really been better off to do it 1 hour for 5 days, right? Because if you do it five hours in a day, number one, you're going to burn out. It's going to suck. You're going to take massive abuse doing that. Your first day sucks, right?
Yep.
But if you done it 1 hour for 5 days versus 5 hours for one day, you'll build that muscle memory. You know, you'll have time to subconsciously think about it. You know, it's like going to the gym. You know, going to the gym and get on a treadmill for 5 hours is going to suck your first day. But, you know, going 5 days in a row, walking on the treadmill for an hour, it's not going to be so bad. You know, same sort of thing. It's like I compare it to going to the gym a lot because consistency is the key. You know, if we do it one time in a month, we're just wasting money and taking up a treadmill that one time a month, you know, somebody else could be using. But if we done it, you know, 3-4 times a week, 5 days a week, you know, next thing you know, you're going to start seeing results. You start following up, man. Your follow up game gets a lot bigger. There was I do a lot of training with RedX, and they had a graphic not long ago that said that they put the number at 7. RedX, if you guys don't know, they provide sales data, right?
Expireds and FSBOs and a little bit more now, right?
Oh,
track
gee.
everything, right? So those results from tracking, they make into fancy graphics and they release some of that cool stuff. And, they tell us about it. And their magic number was 7 follow-ups, right? After 7 calls, basically nobody's calling the lead back anymore. So what if you took, and you developed a 12, 15 call follow-up system, where you just, every lead that you get, you're automatically going to follow up with them 12 times, follow up with them 15 times, right?
Yep.
What would that do to your business too? Versus most agents call one time, they go, "Oh, I don't like you, Matt. You're nasty and mean, and real estate agents are evil." And so then they never call that lead back anymore. And you think the first day that person might really be getting 20, 30 calls. And they're mean to those 20 or 30 agents. So that's 20 or 30 agents that are taken out of the pool of calling.
Right.
So, and after they do that for 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, man, nobody's calling, angry and, anymore. They're skipping her number.
Yep.
So, but consistency, man, whatever your strategy is, if you're consistent doing it for, 60, 90, 120 days, you're going to start seeing results. That's
and this is really interesting because, and we see this a lot with real estate agents. My wife's actually an agent as well. She did FSBOs, expireds as well. She found it really, really difficult, but I found it interesting. Her strategy was basically spend 5 hours a day, and try to do it. And she did it, but it's emotional. So it's very draining. I remember sitting outside with her and just like, she would just unload on me just because it's so draining. And then going to the listing appointments that she would make because she was successful in booking appointments. But then it's like her and like 5 other agents that also booked an appointment, right? And so she's competing now. So that was tough too. And we run into the exact same thing with agents where we're generating leads. We're generating, 100, 200, 300 leads a month for a single agent. And they're sitting there and we're basically, as marketers, telling them, like, you've got to call immediately, and then you got to keep following up over and over and over again. And what ends up happening is after 2 months of this, they're done with it because it's overwhelming. It's emotionally draining. And so, I wonder if there's a better way for us to be able to do this. Some of our agents, like some of our clients, we'll schedule it with them. So I have one client right now where like they basically give us one campaign. We run it for 3 days. We spend a ton of money, generate a bunch of leads, and they spend that week just following up with all those leads. And then they continue that for the rest of the month. So it's kind of scheduled out with them. But most of the agents just get overwhelmed after 2 months. And it's not just us. A lot of marketers that are doing this, we run into this problem.
The hard part about that is you're kind of right. It is draining. It is tough. It's mentally tough. You know what I mean? It isn't physically. We're not digging ditches. We're not roofing houses in the 100-degree heat. But it's mentally tough, man. And you kind of have to push through, and you kind of have to build that mental muscle and that mental resilience. I'll tell you this, like, I'm a big believer in rituals, doing things to get you ready for something, right? In the morning, my rituals are kind of the same. I get up, listen to something motivational, blah, blah, blah. Drink some coffee. Coffee's a big part of it. Coffee makes me feel like I'm ready to go, right? It puts me in a good mood, but even if it's decaf.
That's like Whiskey Thursdays, puts us in a good mood.
Right.
And so you got to, you got to have rituals. You got to kind of control what you're doing, it's hard to prospect 3, 4 hours when you're starting out, If you're a brand new agent, man, starting out, I do an hour max, after you start seeing some results, up at an hour and a half, 2 hours. But, you got to have some goals too. A lot of agents don't have any goal. They don't have any goal. You got to have a goal that gets you excited. You can't have a goal to just pay your bills. Paying your light bill is not exciting.
No.
You having to go like, oh, I'm going to pay my car payment this month. Good, buddy. Good. That's not exciting. You know what I mean? And I see a lot of offices do this, man. The agent will come to them and they'll have like a really exciting goal, man. That'd be, hey, they want to make $250,000 the first year. And the office broker or team leader or whatever says, Matt, I don't think you can do a 250. What if we make it a little more realistic? What do you think about 75,000?
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, 75. Thanks, man. Thanks, Mom. So I think that's a lot of the problems. That's a lot of the problems too that you guys are having, Shane. Generating that volume of leads, you have to kind of set expectations. You have to set expectations, and here I'll leave you guys with this concept, and I need to run. There's this is a concept I've learned, and it's been very I think it's been beneficial to me and my coaching people. There's two different kinds of people. There's converters and sorters. Okay, professionals sort, amateurs convert, right? So what I mean by this is, let's say you got a deck of cards, a sorter, and you're picking out aces. A sorter would go through that deck of cards, flipping them over one at a time, looking to see what they are, if they are an ace or they're not an ace, right? That's it. Okay. A converter, what they'll do is they'll flip through the deck of cards, and all of a sudden they come across an 8. They run, go get a thing of white out, a Sharpie, and they try to turn that 8 into an ace. Now, the thing is, after they try for a while, they try really hard, and they try over and over, but that's never going to be an ace, right? So, and I see agents do that. They waste their time. They generate that 300 leads. They waste their time with the ones that are never going to get pre-qualified. Their credit score is an 8, right? They have no time on the house where they need to be sorting. Now, I'm not saying that you sort through one time and you forget about it and you never go back around. You sort through it one time, and man, every so often you go back through the deck of cards and you kind of see if maybe another ace is there, right? Maybe somebody stuck one in there while you wasn't looking. Maybe somebody inherited a little money from grandma, maybe somebody did get their credit straight. Somebody did get their tax returns, and now they got a down payment, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of agents just get hung up, man, on that, being that, looking, making that person buy a house. And I'll be honest with you, man, it's sometimes, I mean, we all do that to a certain extent, but, sometimes we want it more than the client wants it, right?
Yeah. Right.
And,
well, it's, my coach used to tell me, we're not trying to turn the entire river to gold. We're just looking for the nuggets.
Exactly. Sometimes calling for sale by owners, calling expireds, hey, we had a good conversation, but today it's just not going to work. Deal isn't going to work. We can't get you what you want. It's all right. It doesn't mean I'm a bad person or you're a bad person. You just call the next person, right? The next person, maybe there's a workout. And having that mindset that we're just sorting through, looking for the people that can do something now, can do something in 30, 60, 90 days. And not everybody's going to work out. The problem a lot of agents have is you generate them 300 leads, and they think all 300 leads have to work out and have to buy a house. And if they don't, then there's a problem with you or there's a problem with them.
Exactly. And we've heard that numerous times where it's like, well, I called 20 and none of them have said they're ready to go yet. And you're like, yeah, you called 20, right? Like, keep going.
You might have to call 120.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when I've looked at the statistics of the people moving in America each year, and you take out renters, I mean, roughly 7% is where I typically land, right? When I'm going through these numbers. And so it's 7%. I mean, you go knock doors, you can go get Facebook ads, you can go get whatever. Again, it comes back to what you said. It's the consistency. It's not necessarily the methodology behind which source you use.
Yep, you're 100% right. Well, guys, I'm sorry to cut it short, man. I got to run, but
you're all good, Jason.
Man, go to Amazon. You can download my book, 53 Strategies to Get More Listings. It's free, or will be free here shortly if it's not already. And we'll have to do this again, guys. It was fun.
Fantastic. And Jason, where can people find out or find you if they have questions, or maybe if they're an agent, they want to join your group, you want to put that out there, that's up to you.
Facebook, my group's Real Estate Agents That Really Work. Just send me a message through Facebook if I can help you. And anyway, guys, I'll talk to you guys soon.
Okay, all right. Thanks so much for coming on, Jason.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Okay. We're going to stick around?
Yeah, I think we'll stick around, right?
Sure, whatever.
We'll stick around. We'll recap, right? I got this one plus one.
There you go. Let me get some lighting going here.
How do you like my lighting, man? How do you like this? There we go. Like, you know what I realized as we're doing this is I was like, oh my gosh, like there's a lot more activity going on at 8 o'clock than there normally is. Why? Is it nice? Is that what you're trying to say? No, I'm at my house, man.
That's not Detroit.
This is where I live.
Oh, it looks a lot nicer than when I visited.
Well, it's in the spring, right?
That's what it is.
I know.
That's
You're sitting here like your house smells. Like I got a dog, man. My dog always stinks. You know how much work it's to watch a German Shepherd?
I was like, whoa, jeez, that's bright.
No, I'm just kidding. Oh man, but yeah. So no, I got the porch set up finally, man. Porch set up finally. Let's see. Can you even see it?
Yeah, what's going on there? What do you got? Would you buy some
furniture? You know,
nice.
is nice. It's nice.
Good. You know, I really like that last bit you talked about. You know.
Oh, dude, the cards.
Yeah, the cards. I think
I loved it.
Yeah, that's a good. And it's something we got to keep in mind too, right? And maybe we don't do enough of this. You know, setting that expectation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what we're trying to do here is, you know, go through. What do you call those? You got the sorters and you've got what was the other one?
The converters. The sorters and the converters. I love it because I've been both, right? I've been both, like as an agent. Before I had been really trained, like I'd seen some stuff on expireds. I watched a couple people do it, you know, and so I'm like, okay, they're doing it. This is what they're saying. This is like, I'm going to go do it, right? Before I could even get to the class, like I paid for it, but it didn't start for a couple weeks. So I'm like, screw it. I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to start doing it. You know, I'm one by one looking up every single phone number, like finding them, looking through public record, trying to find the phone number, and then calling and trying to convert every single one. And it was a nightmare. I didn't convert a single one.
Yeah.
You know, regardless of how many days I had called.
Yeah.
So what he's talking about with the sorting is just amazing. And that's something that, you know, I was able to accomplish that system that we teach. Is that in the beta or is that in the regular? I don't remember. But anyways, the system we teach with Lion Desk, that was the exact system I was able to use to create that sorting system so I could go back through the list all the time. So I could keep track of people. So I knew when to follow up with. And I mean, that system is like what? Super simple.
Yeah, really simple.
Yeah, it's so simple, but it's like nobody thinks of it, so I love it.
Yeah, and I know, like, you know, when one of the, like, even with Rochelle, you know, one of her challenges, because we were generating a lot of leads, especially with, you know, the motivated buyer campaign. I mean, it's so, you know, at $2 a lead, you can start generating tons and tons of leads.
And Shane, we got to get some engagement going on. So guys, let us know what your ahas were as Shane's going through his. Tell us what your ahas were. What did you learn there? What do you think you could take to the table as an agent or as a marketer speaking to agents? Did you pick anything up? Was that helpful for you guys? Sorry, Shane. So anyways, generating the leads.
Yeah, and if you're just joining us right now, let us know who's here. Let's see here. Let's just take a quick look here. Donald Moore is here. What's up, Donald? Christopher, Stephanie, and Donald again. And I can't go up to the top of the list.
Right on.
But no, you know, one of the things that was happening was that you know, we were generating so many leads because they were cheap,
right?
And she was, you know, overwhelmed with the leads coming in, getting frustrated because she wasn't converting as many of them. You know, we sat down. I'm like, listen, all you need to do, like, basically, as they come in, make a phone call. If you can't reach them, make 3 more phone calls.
Right.
And that's it. Like, and then just put them into your long-term drip. And
yeah.
Just because we're generating so many of them, you know, $2 or $3, we're spending, you know, anywhere between $600 to $800 a day or a month. And so that was a lot of leads that were coming in, right? So there was no way, and she was getting frustrated with it because just there was a lot of them that are just not qualified. So instead, just like, let's come up with a process and then let's just follow that. And that made things a lot easier. And she stayed, you know, she stuck it out and just a lot more consistent with that process.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing, right? It's about the consistency. Like he said, like there are agents out there that are crushing it with door knocking. That's all they do. And they crush it. And there are agents out there who do open houses and that's all they do. And they crush it. And expireds and for sale by owners and probate and, you know, everything else that you can think of. Like there are agents who focus on this niche. That's all they do. And they crush it, right? Because they're consistent. They stick to it and they do it. You know, I mean, that's again, that 7% of people are moving, not including renters, right? So 7% of people. So that means every 100 leads, you should have at least 7%. And I mean, this is my personal belief. I could be wrong, but I have got to believe that if people are clicking on a house ad, entering their information and clicking submit, it's better than 7% in that batch. I don't care what your ad is, you know?
So what do you mean by that?
I'm saying if 7% of the general population is moving every year, right? And that's like we just go 100 random houses throughout America. We're going to get 7 people on average that are moving, right? That are selling, not just moving, but selling, right? Because if we don't include renters. So if people are actually going on Facebook, they're clicking your ad. Oh, check this list of homes out under this price in this location.
I just want to go over these stats here because I get it that you probably went through the stats and you figured this out, right? So you're telling me my lighting, your lighting is so much better than mine.
It's because I'm outside. I got natural lighting.
Yeah. Okay. Let me just finish this thought here because then I'm going to fix my lighting here in the room. So you're telling me if you were to start walking around in your neighborhood in Detroit, where you are right now, and you went and knocked on 100 doors, you would find 7 people that were thinking of selling this month.
So when we did the average numbers, right?
Because I don't know about you. Anybody else that's watching, what do you think that seems high? Because to me, that seems really high.
Yeah. So I mean, if we just look at the number of households sold, right? Like this number will give us a rough estimate, but it doesn't take everything into consideration. Like we just look at I think that 127 million U.S. households, number of homes sold in 2018, 5.34 million existing homes,
Well, it's not just sold; it'd be listed, right?
Oh yeah, no, I'm just talking about sold, right? Like there's a lot of people that will try to move too, and they may not be successful, right? So plus 666,000 new construction homes. Like if you just look at that, you're just shy of 6 million, right? You're just shy of, is that right? 534? No, it's over 6 million. So it's like 6.01 million, right? So 6.01 million people out of the 127 million households. And yeah, I forget all the data steps I had gone through, but like those are just some basic stats that are readily available on Google. But when I had gone through all the detailed stats, the number I was able to find was around 7%. Like it kind of varied, like somewhere over 7, somewhere under 7, depending on where you got the data, right?
Right.
So
well, we got 27 people watching right now, and Chris says he just listed his family home.
I was going to say, statistically, then 1 or 2 people should be moving.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, how many of you are planning on moving in the next 12 months? Out of the 27 people watching, how many of you are actually planning on moving in the next 12 months? I'd like to know that number.
I'm one.
Are you? You're going to buy a house. That's right. I forgot about that. So you, next 12 months, I'm right on the edge. Let's say no. Let's say no just for the better.
You're going to move out of your pretty little place there?
I know, right?
And I say that, like nicely, not just joking.
I know.
You've got a really cool house.
Yeah, no, it is.
Like
it is cool. It's neat. Small, it's just a little small. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's cool. It's like unique, and it's got some really interesting, like the trim works really nice, and it's a nice place.
Okay, so Chris says
might be a little weird.
Yeah, the area is, like I said, like you walk down the street, you get to the stoplight right there, and if you sit there all day, you're going to see Ferraris, Lamborghinis. I saw the Batmobile, the 1950s or 60s model Batmobile. I saw that today. I saw the A-Team van today. But you'll also see people riding down like completely like 2 different shoes on a bike that's all beat up, like homeless. So it's like it's this really diverse neighborhood on the edge of the area. When I drove to your place, I think it was like 2:00 in the morning. So not long ago, I drove to Florida, right? So during the winter, I drove to Florida, and I figured I convinced Matt to drive with me. I don't know how I did this, but I drove from Toronto to your house, which is close to Detroit, right? And drove from Detroit to Savannah. We met up with Zach, and then from Savannah to Orlando, because you flew out of Orlando, right? So we hung out in Savannah for a little bit. But I know, like I was driving at like 2:30 in the morning through Detroit in the middle of the night, right? And I get to what's that little town you live close to? Pontiac.
I'm driving through that, and I'm like, lock my doors, like stop at this red light.
Yeah, right. It's a little sketchy.
Little scary, yeah. A little sketchy, yeah.
And then you get through there, and you come over to where we're at,
Yeah,
which
like I
is
picked
like,
you up, which is actually not that bad, except for
Okay.
the woman across the street who murdered her family, right, or something
Yep.
like that.
yep, that was
So
across the street over there.
and then you're like, okay, well, like check out all these houses, like all $1 million homes, like.
Oh yeah,
You know,
it's like you go a quarter mile that way or a quarter mile that way, and it's
Yeah.
complete opposite ends of the spectrum. Maybe
Yeah,
not quarter mile, maybe a
absolutely
mile,
crazy.
whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so look, we've got multiple people listed my family home, me moving next year. I am too, planning on buying a house. Yeah, me too. Like that's 5 people out of 30 that are planning to.
That's
Let's
crazy.
say if half of those people actually do, right?
Yeah, and that's people that are actually taking the initiative here, because a lot of people just don't comment on these lives, right? You're
Yeah.
just listening and stuff, or they're, maybe they're doing dishes or whatever it is, right? Like,
Yeah.
but they're just not. But these are like literally somebody that's actually taking up their phone and they're typing something,
Mhm.
right? So there's probably a few more in there as well. So yeah, so maybe the stats are right. Some.
Yeah, and if you look at that, you've got, let's say, like 20% of that 2.5 that'll actually move next year would probably be renters, right? And then, yeah, I forgot where I was going with it, but anyways, I got distracted when you were looking around like that.
No, I'm just like I'm counting the houses on my street, and I'm thinking about the signs that went up and the houses that got sold. So here's a crazy story.
Well, let's say it's 5%. Let's say it's off by 2%,
Yeah, even 5%.
right? Like if we just looked at the bare numbers, like I said, that you can get off Google. So hang on. What is it? 6.01, right? 6.01 million.
Okay, you
Hang
figure
on.
out the math. I'm gonna get that lighting thing here fixed. Hang on.
Okay. So it's 6.01 million. So 6 2. Okay, right there.
That's much better.
Divided by. Hang on, I'm having a hard time with math tonight, apparently. Okay, there we go. Divided by.
And you're the math guy too.
Right? Like it's I don't know what's going on here. 6.01 divided by, where's the other number? Whoops.
I hope nobody saw that because I wasn't wearing any pants.
It's
I
gosh.
just,
Gosh.
I just
Always,
threw on my
man.
shirt before-
So
I know,
that
you're working from home, right? So it's like
you never know. You never
Yeah,
know. I was listening to was it
for you, it'd be
Julie's,
pretty normal, right? Over there
what, not to have
on your
pants on?
porch. Yeah.
Yeah, I went on the porch just buff. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, if we take those numbers that are just basic, like number of homes sold in America, number of households in America, divide the two, like 4.7, right? So again, I've got to look at where all my numbers are from, and how I came up with that, because it's been a while. But even if it's 4.7, right? Think about that. If 4.7 people are moving out of every random 100 people you pick in the U.S., like you throw a rock, you're gonna hit somebody who's moving. Like that's a good percentage of people.
And that's within the next 30 days. That's not within the next 3 to 6 months either.
How did you get that? I'm not sure how you'd get.
No, but what I mean is, okay, so if you're generating, 100 leads a month,
Yeah.
you got a much larger percentage of people that are looking to move within 30 days to 60 days, right? Like that pool continues to grow.
Oh yeah. No, I see what you're saying. And again, like if 4.7% of those people are going to be moving this year, right? You generate 100 leads. Some of those will be now, some will be later, some will be further down the road, right? But I have to imagine that the averages of the people who are like inquiring on Facebook, who are filling out the information, right? Who are saying, show me that list of homes in this area and what they sold for or what they're available for. Like it's got to be higher than the general average. It would make no sense that it would be any lower or even the same.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. So a couple questions here, guys. And if you have a few questions,
Take care, Pat.
You want to talk about anything? Yeah, Pat, good to see you. Thanks for joining us and supporting us. We'll see you, I don't know, next time on Whiskey Thursday.
Yeah.
Alina here says, Joe, good to see you, actually. Alina, nice to see you. Jimmy is here as well. Chris still around. Anthony, good to see you. Let's see, Flex is here. And Aaron Gonzalez is here tonight. Good to see you guys. Anybody else here? And Alina says, what's your opinion here on the fact that agentology has found and concluded that calling Facebook leads and double dialing within the first few minutes is actually counterproductive to their contact rates. And that is it. What do you think of that?
What when I think about it, I would think about the results I've gotten from Agentology every time I've tried to use them, and the fact that I can barely get them to call the leads, let alone give me a report on it.
So do you think this is something that, I mean, it's really hard to comment on this. I mean,
I don't really, I mean, me personally, like, it doesn't matter what Agentology says. Like, I'm going to go off the stats that I've used. Agentology has been a nightmare every time I've tried to use them. And unfortunately, like, like the other thing that frustrates me about Agentology is like when you and I were trying to get an account with them, right? Like, we're calling and we're like, okay, hey, you know, we want the account. Here's what, you know, you're charging this person, so let's do it. And they're like, no, our prices have changed. We've done that. And you're like, okay, well, here's the price that you sent me in a quote, and it was different from 90 days ago, right? Like, they sent me like multiple different prices, if I remember, what they were willing to do, and then they changed it, and then what they were willing to do. And it was like, wait, why am I going to pay you if I do want to use you? I've got a friend over here who says, yeah, just run your stuff through mine for $4 a lead instead of paying $6.50 or whatever it was, you know. And I even told the guy that, I'm like, actually, I'm going to just send him through my friend's account because you're charging him $4 a lead. And he was like, well, we can give you this deal. And I'm like, yeah, but it's not $4 a lead. Like,
so you're basically, your frustration was just the whole.
Well, my frustration was that, but then also each time I've used them, they have not done great, not even done well with the follow-ups, right? Like, I've heard of people having success, and I've got my own opinions on how they're doing it and making it work. But like, I've never been able to get Agentology to work. I can get my own ISA team to work, but I cannot get Agentology to work every time I've tried.
So what are your thoughts then on the fact that Agentology thinks it's counterproductive to actually call your leads?
Again, if they had given me any results worth, you know, talking about, like, I'd be more curious about their opinions. But when you can't take care of my leads, like, how do I trust you to take care of your own and then give accurate data?
Right.
So
and then again, you have, you know, Hire Ava, that's or Ava, whatever they're called, that, you know, it's basically text only stuff. Obviously, getting results, they got customers, right?
Right.
You know, Anthony Mann has the Assist program, which is human-based text messages, and he gets results from that. Lots of great responses and good results. So, you know, who knows, right?
Yeah, as far as, I mean, the double calls, like, I think here's what I do think is, it's similar with voicemails. Whatever you commit to is what's going to work best for you. If you say, instead of calling twice, like boom, boom, I'm going to call at minute 1, and then again at minute 10, and then again at minute 30 and 60 and 90 or whatever. Like, if that's what you want to do and you can stick to it consistently, you'll get great results. If you're going to do the bulldog result or the bulldog call, and you're going to stick to it consistently, I still think you're going to get great results.
So, like, I mean, you know, we tracked a lot of our own calls when we were doing this, and as soon as we introduced the bulldog call, we increased our connection rates. There's no doubt about it. We do it today. We called another because we're testing something else out today. We called. I believe we got through 110 leads today that we called. Like our team actually called, and we ended up. I think we connected, our connection rate today was really good. But what was really,
and these are old leads, weren't they?
Yeah, they're aged about 2 weeks.
Aged? So. They're not wine, they're old leads.
Aged. They're about 2 weeks old. But what's really interesting is all the callbacks.
Yeah.
Which is really we use Ring Central to do a lot of this stuff, and I have Ring Central on my, and it's like all day long, leads calling back nonstop. And I'm assuming that's from, like, okay, this person's called 3 times now. What the hell do they want?
Right.
You know?
Well, yeah. And it was, you know, I was talking to a student.
We do a triple call, though. We don't do a double call. We call 3 times, not twice.
Yeah. See, I was talking with a student this week, and he was talking about, like, these people and their connection rates and what's going on. And as we were going through it, he's like, well, we're following the plan. And I'm like, well, where are they located? Because the plan is basic. The plan is average. The plan, you know, should be safe just about anywhere. But the truth is, if your client's in New York, right, if they're in Manhattan and you call them once, they're, you know, probably not gonna get them. Call them twice, you're probably not gonna get them. You call them 5 times the first day, you're probably not gonna get them, right? Because people in Manhattan are busy. They're always on the move. They're sometimes not even happy to talk to you when you do call them, right? And so, they have places to go. They're doing stuff. They are constantly on the move. And if you call them 15 times, that might be what it takes to get them on the line. Yeah. Call them 15 times in one day. Guess what? At some point, you're going to find the line, right? You'll find that line, and it'll be like, okay, right here, people are telling me to screw off. They're telling me, go die, kick rocks, whatever, like right here. So I'm going to back it off a hair. And now you back it off from here to here, and like you're just below where they get frustrated. Like that's where I want all of my call and all my ISAs, wherever I'm at, I want them to find that line in the location, get there. Like, where's the line where they get really upset and back off a hair, right? Where's the line where it's too much and back off? Because then I know we're at the right spot, because like some people might get frustrated, but the majority of them are just gonna be like, oh my gosh, why are you calling so much, right? Then you get into the call, you talk to them and they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't even realize I filled that out. Or, hey, I'm sorry, let's chat about that real quick.
Yeah.
But if you do 15 calls in the Midwest, right? You do 15 calls in the Midwest, like you're gonna get a restraining order. So you have to find the line, and it's different everywhere you go. You do 15 calls in Toronto, they're gonna call the Mounties or whatever.
He's not even call them out. That's ridiculous. No one even knows their number.
We're calling the Royal Mounties.
I don't even think they carry phones.
No. I don't know.
Like a whip for the horse.
Exactly, man. You can have these people on horseback showing up at your house. You're like, you called 15 times. What's your deal?
I'm just kidding. But I was going to say something about this. Something else that we had noticed when doing calls is we never did dials during the day. So leads would come in, we'd follow up with the leads as they were coming in. But when we were calling back lists, we never called during the day. It was always between 4 to 8, always. Okay. And our connection rates were like through the roof. When you and I were doing the coaching stuff, so our connection rates were somewhere around 60%. With all
right?
No, like after we did, like you and I started doing some coaching stuff, after we went from 20 minutes to 5 minutes, and then after we implemented the double calls and triple calls, that's when our connection rates started really going up. But like we were hitting like anywhere like from 90 to 95% of all of our leads that were coming in,
right?
Usually by the 9th attempt. That's typically where we were. So maybe like 60% on the first attempt, and then up to 95% once we got to about the 7th to 9th attempt. But
let us know if you guys have questions. Let us know below so we know, and we can answer those. We can get to your questions if you're wondering about any of this. Anthony Manzon, what's going on, Anthony? Alina, I am curious what they were saying when they said the Bulldog thing. Did they give a percentage difference, or did they just say it hindered it?
Well, the other thing too is going to cost them a lot less money now to do the follow-ups.
That's the other thing, right? If they can tell you it doesn't make as good, the results are not as great if we call them multiple times. We should only call them once. Well, great. Now you can serve 5 times as many customers and charge just as much.
And I mean, now that Anthony's on here too, like Anthony's gotten some really good success with text messages. I mean, and people are responding to text messages, right? I never do. I just delete. But I do respond to people calling me, which is, especially if they're going to call me 10 times in a row.
Yeah, I mean, at a certain point, like, look at what debt collectors do, right? Like they do this
those
because
guys, I just hit spam.
Yeah, but they do this stuff because it works. Like this is how you get somebody to answer their phone, right?
Yeah,
I'm not saying you necessarily need to do that every time, right?
Are your debt collectors are they not texting you?
It's been a bit since I had that issue. But
sorry, you cut out. I didn't.
It's been a little while.
You're cutting out. Is that me or you?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good now.
Oh, I said, it's been a little while since I had that issue, but I don't remember them ever texting me.
They don't text you? You're not on some long email drip campaign?
No, I don't remember email drips. I don't remember text. I just remember calls. But it was 3 to 5 times a day for like months.
Well, I'm surprised the taxman doesn't text. I think I would respond to text messages from like the tax, like our
The IRS
Revenue
texted you?
Canada. Yeah,
That'd
no,
be
not, well, the IRS doesn't text me, but
Oh, okay.
our Canadian tax system, right? I think I'd respond to that. I ignore their phone calls, but
Oh my gosh.
just like, I'm talking to you guys today. Next year, when I make a lot of money, call me then.
That's funny. So Alina says no percentage. They don't do it anymore for Facebook leads. Only for Facebook leads. Well, that is interesting. I guess I'd be open to reading it. But again, I'm not crazy about the results that I've personally seen. I don't know if you're watching right now. Somebody driving by in their car yelling. But if you're watching right now, sorry. Let us know. Are you using Agentology?
Like you have your back against the street right now, right?
Yeah, I
You're
do.
nervous about like.
Well, the car drove by and it was yelling at me, and then the police drove by, and I was like, okay, they're good. We have like 6 police officers in like a 2 square mile radius.
Okay.
Like they're pretty bored, so they're ready for you. They're ready for somebody to mess up. They wish somebody would mess up. Anyways, what I was saying. Jason says, excellent call, guys. Thanks for having me. Jason, thanks so much for being on, man. We really appreciate it. We loved it.
And guys,
we hope to have you back again.
If you're just joining the call and you missed Jason, he put out, what was the book? I keep forgetting the name of the book.
Dang it. Jason, we put the name of the book in the comments. We should have done that in the beginning. I don't know why we didn't.
Sure. I don't know why. Like I was listening to him and I was like, I didn't want to do anything.
Yeah, right. It was a good conversation. Like It was funny because we kept going up in the number of people watching, and there was like no comments. It was just like everybody was so engaged. I love it. But yeah, getting back to Agentology, if you're using them right now and you're getting results, like let us know. Are they good? Are they bad? Like what's going on with your results if you're using Agentology? Because my experience has not been great. My experience with a lot of ISA companies has not been great, right? Like,
well, and it's a tough thing too. Like, I mean, I went through this, we built a small team, you did the coaching for us. And it's not an easy thing to do. No. I mean, the systems are super complicated. Getting the follow-ups right is a tough thing as well, especially if you don't know what you're doing. So.
Yeah.
53, Chris says 53 strategies to getting more listings.
Let's see if we can find this and post it in here real quick.
Yeah, that's a nice little offer.
Let's see, Amazon. You got to go get it, everybody, and then read it, and then go give them a 5-star review. Is it 5 stars? Is that what Amazon is?
Yeah. I think that was the deal here, right? And it's still light where you are. It's pitch dark.
It is, man.
Yeah,
it is.
It's pitch dark.
53 Strategies to Get More Listings by Jason Morris. The Kindle version is free right now. It's fantastic. And dude, he's talking about this rent to own stuff. I'm like, or not rent to own. This rent stuff.
Here's another business.
Well, he's talking about like the rental people, and hang on, I'm posting the link. Boom. Okay. And like following up with them, I'm like, dang, dude. Like, again, you add 2, maybe even like, gosh, add 3 a day, right? Add 3 of those a day for 250 days a year. And you are going to be crushing it, right? You're going to be, because again, 30, 50 people, whatever it is that you're calling each month, like you're going to get at least, a couple people each month that are going to be interested in moving.
Yeah.
Like, let's say you only got 2 a month. That's 24 listings. Like, your listings typically bring buyers and bring more listings, right? So you could potentially do 30, 40, 50 deals off of those 24 listings.
Well, and what he said was really interesting. It's just this, pick something and stay consistent with it.
Yeah. And I love that, because like, that's a method. Like I've never even thought about, like the for rent by owner. That's what it was. For rent by owners. I've never even thought about doing that as an agent. I'd seen rental signs, wondered if they'd sell, but I'd never thought about like building a strategy out and what that would look like. And that was so cool that he went over that with us, because I think if you're an agent right now, that's a really low barrier to entry, because you're not dealing with for sale by owners. You're like, go away agents. You're not dealing with expireds that are like, I got 1 million calls today. Go away. Like,
the reality is though, and this, I mean, you can't deny that all the strategies work.
They do.
They all work, right? Like, I mean, you made, 6 figures in what, 5 days calling FSBOs and expireds, playing video games? Was it?
So it was actually
0 to 6 figures in 30 days, right? Playing.
Yeah. So I set up my entire pipeline basically. Yeah, I was playing DayZ. right? So it was a computer game, and I would alt tab out as soon as somebody would answer the phone, and I was just prospecting, and I timed it that year. Like my initial prospecting hours was 93 hours, so 31 days, because I did 3 hours a day, 93 hours, and what did I do? 127,000 that year, something like that. And I didn't do any more prospecting after that 31 days. I just kind of chilled. You know, I believe we were having a baby and stuff, and you know, I did my follow-ups after that, but that was my initial lead generation. That's all I did for the year.
But again, you stuck to one thing, and that's what you did, right? And it worked. I mean, it's the same thing, right? You're going to do Facebook ads, then do Facebook ads and follow with those leads. And if you're going to do, you know, door knocking, then do that because that works as well. Like, and they all these strategies work, right? I think that one of the big problems that people are just hopping around to the next best thing, right? Because I mean, it's hard to get, it's easy to get distracted. And same on the marketing side as well, right? With the marketers, you know, and I think we've mentioned this a few times, especially on the client acquisition side of things, like figure out one thing, do really, really well, and then start acquiring clients doing that method.
Yeah. Donald says he's a landlord. He's getting his property back in a few months, lost it to squatters for a while. Dude, like, I do not understand these laws.
Where do you live?
Did you ever, if you look at, I think if you look up squatters in Detroit, like you'll see some videos that are just wild where like this
is
person,
happening in the US. People are
oh yeah, like this person moved into a house while somebody was gone, right? And like just was like, this is my house now. This is where I live. And it was like, what? Are you for real? Like, look it up. It's pretty funny. Because somebody else.
I mean, like, okay, wait, so what's the problem? You can't get rid of squatters because they're like, you can't.
Well, I don't know exactly the law. I don't know the exact law on it. Like, I haven't really looked into it that much. But basically, like, there's a video of this guy going in and doing this interview with the squatter, and then he comes in a bathrobe, and he's like, I'm coming in to move in too. And the squatter's like, you can't move in here. Like, this is my place. And then, like, the police come and take the squatter away. It was kind of interesting. So it was pretty wild. Donald says he lives in Birmingham. I'm guessing Alabama or Birmingham, Michigan is like 3 miles that way. Anyways, Stephanie Van Rossa, shiny object syndrome. Yeah, shiny object syndrome is a major contributor to
and I think
fallen agents.
Like just from the marketer's perspective too, it's like, okay, I'm going to try this out, so I'm going to try to get clients doing this strategy, and so I'm going to try that out for 5 days, and then it doesn't work, so you're on to the next thing, and then that doesn't work, and then you're on to another one, and then you're doing all these different strategies, and then none of them are actually working properly because you're not focused on one of them. You can't develop it, and the same, the same thing that Jason said, which was like, you need to do this and stay consistent with it, so that with your script specifically, it's the same thing for the marketers, right? When you're selling something, you want
Aaron Harris is here. What's going on, Aaron? Sorry.
I lost my train of thought. Thanks for interrupting. What was
I was having I couldn't help it.
Fucking Aaron.
What's going on, Aaron?
Whoops, there goes my camera. Sorry. There you go.
Oh gosh. Come on.
Sorry, Matt. Hang on a second.
No worries. What's going on, Aaron? What are you up to, man? But yeah, I mean, so many times agents, like, everything that is possible, like, oh, I can get leads here, I can get leads here, and they try to do everything. And by trying to do everything, they end up accomplishing nothing. And marketers do the same thing, right? We're like, man, we could use cold email, we could use Facebook ads, we could use cold calling, we could use all these different methods, and they're going for it, and then nothing happens because they're just like, trying to chase every single rabbit, right?
Yeah.
What is it? The man who chases 2 rabbits catches none. Is that what the saying is? Like, they're chasing multiple rabbits. And if you try to chase 2 rabbits at once, good luck. It cannot work. It cannot work.
Well, I think part of it is like, get really good with one thing. And once you've developed your system for that, then pick another system, right? And then develop that. And then get really good with that while the other one's running and operating, right? And then you can continue to expand like that.
Yeah. Oh, it's frustrating because it's like, I've been there so many times where like I didn't know what to do, or maybe I did know what to do and I didn't want to do it. So I focused on so many different things, right? And then nothing got accomplished. because you're going after so many different things. Like Stephanie said, like it's shiny object syndrome,
Yeah.
right? Shiny object syndrome
For
is
sure,
like
yeah.
the number one cause of agents getting out of this business, if you ask me.
Yeah. And I think like it's,
Well,
you know, sorry, go ahead.
I say that, and there's some agents that are just, they're not meant for this business, so it's, you know, it's okay.
Yeah. So I'm good with the comment you sent me. I don't know how you want me to respond.
Oh yeah, no worries, no worries. Aaron, are you still watching, buddy?
Matt's private messaging me, and I'm like,
I know. Like let's. Sorry.
I can't even see the messages pop up anyways because.
Well, I was saying we should get Aaron on, and we haven't had Aaron on in a long time, and you know,
Aaron's busy, man. Aaron's a baller now. He's like we never see him in the group anymore. Not giving us any love.
That's right, because Aaron is our original moderator, right?
Yeah, he was one of the first moderators of the group. And,
yeah,
he was, but you know, I think he's busy. You know, he's got life, and he was just. It looks like he was on vacation recently. Thank you, Facebook, for letting us know where Aaron is spending his time. He just bought a house too. Did you know that house he bought?
Yeah.
But Aaron was nice enough. I don't know if you actually saw that because it was something that I set up. Aaron was nice enough to come into the student group.
Yep.
And do a really quick, like 45-minute, I don't know, masterclass thing just for the
students. It's like a mini class,
mini class on his for sale by own, or sorry, no, the events for first time home buyers.
Okay.
So ads, strategy behind it, how you run it, and all that other good stuff. He even gave us some presentations and things like that. Lots of value. So
yeah, and Aaron, if you're watching and you do want to jump on with us, shoot me a message. I'll get you a link.
Yeah, Aaron, come on, man. We'd love to just say hi for a few seconds if you're free.
Talk to Shane while I go use the rest. No, I'm just kidding.
I was just about to say this.
Talk to Matt while I get.
I gotta run here.
We'll just get Aaron on and we'll both like zip, and he'll be like,
So run.
All right.
Yeah, Aaron, run the show. So you now. But Jimmy here says, has anyone run campaigns to renters to help them get finance to buy a home? I'm running one now. Just curious, any thoughts on messaging? So I have not. I don't know about you.
Joe actually said he's worked with a lender who did this and got a lot of cheap leads, and it worked for him. So no, I haven't personally run those, but I can't imagine they'd be a bad idea. Again, consistency. Is it something you want to do and stick with?
Yeah, for
right?
Sure. Absolutely. So
all right, Aaron says next time.
Yeah, Aaron denied, Matt.
Denied.
No.
No
I think it was, if it was just me and you weren't around, Aaron probably hop on.
Yeah. Probably.
I'm just kidding.
For that, I will be right back, and you can answer some questions. So
there are no
ladies
questions here.
Oh, it's gonna be awkward. I'll be back.
You cannot. Where are you gonna go? You fucker. So guys, hey, listen, we're actually ending, probably gonna end the show here pretty soon here. 9:30, been going for an hour and a half here. Guys, if you have any questions at all, let us know down below inside the comments here. Good to see everybody. Aaron, thanks for chiming in here. Joe, good to see you. Again, Jimmy and Donald, you've been here for a little while as well. Thanks for watching. And Joe says, Matt, I'll shoot you ad copy for the rental. Oh, awesome, Joe. Let us know. Yeah, shoot that over to me because Matt's not going to do anything for that. I'd love to check that out. Don't send it to Matt. So, and then, guys, like I said, if you have any questions at all tonight, and if not, then I'm just going to wait for Matt here to get back. And Jimmy, how about financing campaigns for upcoming refi boom? That's a good question, actually. So we are, thanks, Joe. We're hoping to line up a masterclass here for mortgages coming up, and I think we're probably going to go ahead and cover some of this. From my understanding, I haven't done a whole lot of mortgage stuff. Pretty much everything I've focused on is sorry, guys. is on the real estate side of things. So, but we are looking to do a masterclass for mortgages, and I'm guessing we're probably going to cover some of that refi stuff. Probably sometime end of June, maybe mid-July is when we're going to do that. Jimmy, you get access to that. You're not part of that student program, so you'll get access to that. Aaron, I'll shoot you a message, Shane, coming your way in August and September. You are. Are you coming to Toronto, or are you? Are we going to meet up in Niagara Falls? If you are, then we're going to get Matt coming out to Niagara Falls, and we'll go ahead and put together a quick meetup, or not a quick meetup, but maybe something for an evening or something like that. Get Matt out there, get myself. Maybe we can get Zach out there, maybe a couple other people. That'd be really cool if you're going to head out there. So yeah, let me know. Sounds like August is. I think we were trying to do this last year, Aaron, and that never happened. You probably got busy. So. So Anthony says, Anthony Nosa, Matt, what is the best way to reach you via Facebook Messenger, phone call, or email?
Me. It's a good question. It's a good question. It depends on the day, right? Let me see. Probably Facebook Messenger would be your best bet. Trying to think. I'm like, shoot, I haven't missed a message, have I? You know what I mean? So yeah, I would say Facebook Messenger is probably gonna be the best way to reach me. I'm not always super responsive in Facebook just because
you're horrible at Facebook Messenger.
Yeah, just because I'm trying to get stuff done, man. So Facebook Messenger is so distracting because like people will message you and they'll be like, hey, how do I do this? And I'm like, oh, I love doing that. Let's talk. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, one of the big problems too with Messenger is that if you don't respond right away, you'll forget. Because it's just like, you know, after a day, all your messages just get buried, right?
And I've had people do like, that's the other thing is I've had some people where it's like they're demanding an answer, and I'm like, wait, I'm happy to help, but I don't know you, and like you're getting upset because I read your message and I didn't answer it right away. Like I was in the middle of something, but I was also curious what you had to say, right? Like it's kind of interesting how that happens. So yeah, but I would say Eric or Anthony, Facebook Messenger is probably the best way to get me. My email is swamped with stuff that I don't need and don't want and can't figure out how to make it go away. So it'd probably take me too many hours of unsubscribing from stupid things. You know?
So anybody wants to get a hold of Matt, just message me. I'll send you over his cell phone number.
I don't answer it. I don't answer my cell phone. Like, what good is that going to do?
You don't even answer your phone?
No.
Oh my God.
Why would somebody call me on the phone? What's wrong with people?
No, I don't know. Well, the same fucking reason why we were just talking about this. Like, no, you got to call people fucking 10 times for them.
Well, there's a difference, right? If I fill something out because I'm interested, I will answer my phone. But again, that's because I'm expecting a call in the next 2 minutes. And if it doesn't happen, they call me 3 hours later, I'm not going to answer it.
I know I know why you don't answer your phone.
Why is that?
Well, because people are trying to reach you, you want to talk to.
Yeah, spammers, man. Spammers.
All right.
Well, I get those like the healthcare system has opened up again temporarily. You have a chance. I'm like, dude, I pay so much for my healthcare. Like, I don't even want to be reminded about it.
Okay, I gotta go eat dinner. Let's end this live here. Jimmy says, Shane, other question I asked a few weeks ago was about YLOBO and AI follow-up tools. I remember this question, and I remember it was near the end of Whiskey Thursday, the last time you asked, and I remember you sent it inside of my messenger. Jimmy, I'm sorry for not answering that.
Talk about not answering messages.
No, it wasn't just that. It was like after half a bottle of wine at the end of whiskey. This was a complicated question that Jimmy asked. I'm going to bring it up here, and maybe you can answer it. Let me just bring it. It's inside of my here. But let's see.
Aaron says he'll get an official date this week and make it happen. What's that for? Is he coming on?
Yeah, so him and I just planned a trip without you.
Dang it.
Yeah. This is what happens when you leave Whiskey Thursday. No, so I think Aaron is planning a trip to Niagara Falls. So
we talked about doing something out there.
Yeah, so we're probably going to do something inside of or at some point in August, September. Niagara Falls. You're not far from there. I'm not far from there. Aaron's coming up. Maybe we can get Zach and Pat and whoever else wants to come join us, and we have a little powwow out there.
There you go.
Just come on the Canadian side.
Well, if I remember right, that's the better side at Niagara.
That's the only side you want to come to.
I don't remember what was up there on the U.S.
The
side.
other side is very sad.
That's what I thought. I thought like I was at Niagara Falls on the Canadian side, and if I remember right, it was just like the Canadian side is all lit up with all these like places and all these cool things, and then the U.S. side was just kind of like on the other side of the bridge, and it was like not lit up and really cool. You know what I mean?
Sorry, I wasn't listening. I'm reading the question here.
What question? Oh, that's right. Jimmy's question.
Why local? Jimmy's question here.
Okay, what is it?
I'm trying to find it here. Hang on. So many messages here.
Does anybody else have any questions? Because go ahead and throw those on the comments real quick, and we'll make sure we get to them real quick.
Yeah, and Jimmy, I can't find your question here. Sorry. Post it again here.
Oh, you're so popular. You can't find his question.
No.
Just teasing, sorry.
All right. Since we're not talking about anything and this is going nowhere, we're going to wait for Jimmy to post his question here, and we'll go ahead and answer that as the last question. But guys, if you have watched this far and you're still here with us, hashtag trooper. Yeah, Jimmy, I went through my messenger. I'm not sure what I'm looking for, but I cannot find it.
Give us a keyword.
Give us a keyword.
Give us a keyword to look up.
You're gonna have to retype it. If you want us to answer that complicated question, you have to retype it inside the live.
Let's see. Has he got it? Does he remember it?
I don't know. Let's wait for him to type it up.
Let's see.
But guys, if you've watched this far and if you've been with us since the beginning, you know what to do. Hashtag trooper. Let us know they've been watching all this time with us. We've been here for an hour and 42 minutes. Yeah. With that, Matt.
Yep.
Anything else you'd like to add?
I think the biggest takeaway from tonight for me is just, again, it's just a reminder that everything, if you can stick to it, not everything, but most common methods, if you'll stick to them and be consistent, will work. And it doesn't matter what you're selling, what you're doing, like if you stick to it, you're consistent, you're going to see results. We've got the 7-day challenge coming up. We're shooting videos for that today. Again, your actions, right? Sticking to the actions, committing to the actions.
Yeah,
taking action.
Awesome. Anthony says, anyone getting good results running Facebook ads for luxury real estate? Absolutely. Guys like Ravi, that's gotten really good results with that. He's focused a lot of his business around luxury. There are other guys out there getting good results. I think part of the challenge with the luxury market is just setting the right expectations for that. Again, you're trying to generate leads for a much smaller audience. So, the expectation that you're going to be able to generate $3 leads, it's ridiculous, right? So you need to set that expectation where it's going to be, leads are going to be $10, $15, $20. And that's part of it. So yeah, there are plenty of people getting good leads. We've had a couple of students inside of our student program, and not that we teach the luxury side of it. So don't, but they've been able to take luxury, listings and get some really decent results. Like I don't remember who it was, but like $5, $6 leads for luxury listings. Again, at the end of the day, it's like, you got to look at this and it's like, am I getting some good leads out of that, or am I just getting a bunch of people just want to look at pretty pictures, right? So that's the challenge with luxury. Yeah. And again, stick to it, commit to it, take care of the leads, sort them, don't convert them. Commit. This is commit. Matt's motto tonight. Commit. So yeah. And Jimmy says it's an image on my phone. I sent it to our messenger chat. So if you go to your messenger chat, Shane, and just go to the image. Okay. See that. Let's take a look at this here. We're still going for it. Jimmy. All right. Oh, okay. Here it is. That's why I'm like looking through. It's an image here. I'm trying to find the text for it. So that's let's see. homes in Florida. In the last 6 months, they increased their pending contracts by 75% from 300 leads to just over 700 deals by implementing YLocal retargeting and AI follow-up. How do I duplicate that activity, or do I just recommend hiring the service or similar to it? It's like, Jimmy.
Wait, so
Hang on, I'm going to shoot this over to you.
okay, shoot it over to me. Let me see.
First of all, I have no idea what YLocal is doing, and I'm not even sure how to answer. Matt knows everything though, so he's going to answer this.
I'm gonna give it a shot. All right.
There you go. And while you do that, Matt, guess what I'm going to do?
You're gonna walk out.
Sure am. I'm going to
Be right back. All right, cool. So Jimmy, I am reading through here. All right, let's see here. Boston Emerald. In the last 6 months, they increased their pending contracts by 75% from 300 deals to just over 700 deals. Okay, so we're talking about what they're doing. Okay, by implementing YLocal retargeting and AI follow-up. How do I duplicate that activity, or do I recommend hiring the service or similar to it? Yeah, so I mean, you're talking about follow-up, right? Like they improved their YLocal retargeting. Well, I'm not sure exactly what they did to improve it, so it's tough to speak to that. But again, if you improve your follow-up, if you're doing better follow-up now than you were 6 months ago, you're going to see better results, right? So I know that probably seems really simple and maybe not the answer you're looking for, but the more you follow up, the more leads you close. So as far as what they're doing, I haven't seen anything crazy from AI that made me go, oh gosh, we're missing out by not being here, right? I haven't seen that happen yet. I don't see that happening in the immediate future. Yeah, so with the retargeting, I do think the retargeting is valuable, right? But it has to be precise. It has to be tuned in. You got to optimize it for your audience, for your location. You got to be making sure that basically you're giving people what they want, right? Home buyers, home sellers, they all want to be understood. You got to make sure you're giving them what they want, right? And retargeting them and being value to them. Because if you're doing that, then you do have a chance of closing more deals, right? Or if you're just dropping the follow-up altogether, well, then you're not going to close all those deals. So I know that's kind of a bland answer, but without knowing more details on what was done, like it's really tough to speak to it. So yeah. IDX dynamic retargeting ads. Okay, so yeah, IDX dynamic retargeting ads is a pretty cool idea. I don't know anybody who's currently using it to say like what kind of results they're getting versus like some of the stuff that we're doing or some of the stuff that other agents or marketers are doing. Donald says, by AI, do we mean artificial intelligence? Yes, we do. So, I mean, dynamic retargeting, yeah, I think there's, YLocal does it, and I think there's another IDX service that is capable of doing it, but it is quite a bit of back-end work last time I looked at it, right? So you've got to make sure you've got the pixels in, you got to make sure you have everything installed right, and I'm trying to think, what did we have to do with that? Because we were looking at doing it, and then we are just like, this is crazy, by how much manual stuff you have to do with it. And so we actually hired one of YLoco's ads people for a certain amount of time, and they weren't able to do what we needed, right? So when we hired a YLocal ads person, like what they were doing was very, very basic that they had them doing on the back end. And I'm not saying that this is what they're always doing. This maybe it was one of their ads people that was terrible, or maybe they lied about being, with YLocal. I don't know. But anyways, again, they weren't able to give us any insights on what we could do differently to help the situation. When we tried to get them to do regular ads, they were like, basically, this is what I'm doing already, and then they couldn't do it well. So again, without really knowing a lot more about YLocal, because I know that they're doing very well. They're a big company that a lot of people swear by. So without knowing more about,
I thought what they were doing was pretty cool, like just from reading what they were doing and stuff. But
I think what they're doing is really cool.
I've never used them. I have no idea how they're doing it, what they're doing. Like the best thing you could do, I think, is just go try it out. Like if you're interested in it,
Yeah.
just go try it out. I mean, it's a service that you can pay.
Well, I mean, if you're thinking about it, like, yeah, if you can take the property that somebody looked at previously and put it in front of them again, like you're gonna have a better shot at selling the
I think
property.
they do a little bit more than that too. I think that like if you're looking just from the last time I was, and this was a long time, like maybe last year, I would say a long time ago, but it seems like forever right now. I think that like what they were doing is basically if you were looking at a property in the price range of say 230,000 on their website, then they would start advertising properties around $230,000 that fit that description.
Okay, so you could set that up if you had the right setup. If you had the right like back end, you could set that up. All right, here's the thing for me though, right? YLOPO has not taken over Zillow. They have not taken over Realtor.com. And I'm not familiar with their growth or their growth trajectory, so maybe they're on their way. But if it was that big of a game changer, they would be on track to start taking over these companies, right?
Yeah.
But they're not. At the end of the day, maybe they're helping you follow up better. Maybe they're not. I'm, again, not familiar enough with their systems to know exactly what's going on. The theory sounds like it would work, but I have not tested it myself.
So here's an interesting idea. I've got a great idea.
Yeah.
Jimmy, go sign up for their service. Try it out. Let us know. We'll bring on your Whiskey Thursday. You can tell us all about how it works and what kind of results you're getting from it.
Yeah.
I don't think their service is that expensive, actually.
I don't think so either. I think it's pretty solid.
Yeah. So, okay, with that, I got to go eat. My kid's freaking out in the background.
Sounds good.
I'm going to go deal with that. Matt, it was great chatting with you. Everybody else that's watching, thank you so much for joining us. All the questions and stuff have been great tonight. It was great to have Jason on again. Thanks for Jason. Thank you, Jason, for...
I know, I just heard that.
They honking at you?
It wasn't me. I've got the car over there honking, and I got my dog, which is, dude, I think I told you, my dog, she got some kind of
good looking. That's what they're doing, right?
Yeah, right. Might be. But I got my dog sitting right here at the front door. She's got a satellite dish around her neck right now because she's anyways.
What's wrong with
It's
your
pretty
dog?
funny. She got an infection on her paw, and they're like, well, she
Oh.
can't lick it. So
That's too bad.
anyways.
All right. Well, that is it. Everybody that's watching, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate all the support on Whiskey Thursday and inside the group. And with that, that is it. And I've got to go find the end button. Give me a second. This is like the worst part of Whiskey Thursday. Me finding, there it is.